sending nudes? What's up with that? Why do people ask for them? Why do some women comply with nude requests without actually wanting to? And what do men really expect to happen when sending unsolicited pics? These are some of the questions I want to get into in today's deep dive. And as some of you may know, I got curious about this topic because of the story I covered in my last video about the asshole perv Larry who airdropped an explicit pic to all the passengers on an airplane. So today I want to discuss some of the reasons why people ask for and send nudes and throw in some statistics, cause why not? I'm sure you're curious about those because this topic is quite relatable since most of us have already dealt with nude pics at some point in our lives. Adult lives, hopefully. Now, once again, YouTube is probably gonna give me limited ads or demonetize this video due to the nature of this topic, so it would mean a lot if you would like, share, leave a comment, and subscribe. All those good engagement actions the algorithm loves to help support my channel. Appreciate that. So let's start with, what would make someone ask for naked pics? According to human lore, people, guys, are visual creatures. And in today's age of smartphones and technology, it's fairly easy to get appealing visuals when feeling frisky. Maybe you are in a long-term relationship and missing the object of your affection. Perhaps it's a normal relationship, but you just want to keep things spicy. Or it's something new when you're trying to set up the mood for an upcoming in-person sexual experience.
E and S means 69, so send bass, epic bass solo for you.
Whatever it is, the explicit pic request is common nowadays, with multiple studies claiming a third of their participants engage in frequent sexy pic exchanges. But going a bit further into why people might ask for and send nudes, there are various reasons, generally related to sexual desire, power, and validation. Let me elaborate. For some individuals, the thrill of sending and receiving sexual explicit images is a form of arousal or excitement. Others may send nudes to seek validation or attention from others. And some people may ask for nudes to assert power or control over someone else, to later harass, blackmail, or revenge porn the sender. And those who engage in such exchanges are aware of those risks. According to this article discussing pool results, 4 in 5 worry their intimate pictures could fall in the wrong hands, and 69% are worried this may be held against them. Similarly, 79% are concerned that others have these photos saved on their devices. Be very careful whom you send nudes to. Unfortunately, you never know how immature or petty people are until they have an opportunity to show it to you. Or maybe the person you send the pic to is simply irresponsible. Let's say a friend is going through your partner's phone, looking for the group pic they took at poker night, and then he finds a picture of your coochie or your nipples right next to your partner's lunch pic for Instagram. #delicious. That would be awkward. Which leads me to share that not everybody keeps their word when they agree to delete the nudes after the sender requests it. Pretty much half of the men keep the pics and around 30% of the women. That is not an honorable thing to do. Words have barely any meaning nowadays. Oh, hey lady, welcome back. Long time no see. I was taking a much needed mental health break from all the outrageous stories you talk about here on this channel. Fair enough. So, since apparently you can't trust people to delete the nudes you sent them, remind them that they do not have your consent to share the pictures or videos. And screenshot the conversation, okay? In case you need to sue somebody later. So why send nudes then, if it's that risky? Well, I guess people think the excitement and their partner's joy are worth it. Or maybe they just have a kink and love seeing the other person's reaction. But as I was researching this video, I came across an answer as to why men ask for nudes that intrigued me.
The guy's asking because he never plans on meeting the girl and isn't gonna worry about it. So he can get it all done from behind the text message or behind the dating app or then right off.
Is that true? To all the men watching this video, please let us know in the comments. This is a judgment-free zone to all my awesome viewers who politely communicate in the comment section. Alright, so now I want to talk about an important issue, especially for women. Why do some send not safe for work pics of themselves without really wanting to? Of course, there are people out there who are strong enough to voice their opinions and respect their boundaries.
I said, hell no.
But some, if not many, will go through this mental gymnastics.
He wants me to send a nude, but I don't want to send one because I really like him.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense.
I just don't want this whole thing to just be about sex, you know? I want him to want nudes, but I don't want him to ask me to send them.
Well, how does he get them?
I don't know.
Partner pressure, manipulation, and fear of losing that connection are some of the reasons why people would send nudes even when they're not really comfortable with that idea. You really like that person, and you feel as if you don't comply with their requests, they're gonna lose interest, you know, or they're gonna be upset. And to that I say, just like with physical control, nobody should have emotional or mental control over what you do with your body. If you have expressed that you don't feel like sending pics of yourself and the other person is trying to convince you to do it, saying that you can trust him or her or them and that you're beautiful, blah blah blah, that is manipulation, okay? Don't fall for it. Please find your voice and walk away from the relationship, okay? That person does not deserve you. So, is it bad to ask for nudes? Is it wrong to send nudes when being asked for them? The answer to those questions depends on your beliefs. I think that as long as nothing is being coerced, then it's not bad. I personally don't like the idea, okay? It does nothing for me. I don't get aroused when I see a pic, and I'm not gonna miss the other person less if I get to stare there. It's much more exciting in real life.
Why can't you just wait to see the real thing?
But I do understand that for men, it is exciting. And since they're always gonna be happy to see naked body parts of the person they're attracted to, some might think women would feel the same way. However, even though over 1 in 5 men, 21%, think that women think dick pics are sexy, less than 1 in 10, 9% of women think they are sexy. Apparently, men seem to think that women feel more positively about dick pics than they actually do. Yeah, my camera overheated, don't judge me. But of course, as the study shows, there are some women out there who do enjoy getting some Nicolas Cage pics.
You turn me on.
One survey found that 76% of women like dick pics, but only when they are appropriate, aka when they asked for it, or if they agreed in advance to being surprised by it. So now let's dive deep into the realm of unsolicited pics. Why do some men think they are a good idea? I say men because in all the cases I found of a person sending unsolicited nudes, the initiative came from men. But I'm sure there are probably some women out there spreading lewd pics of themselves to unsuspecting people. But what do men expect to happen after that? Maybe they automatically feel entitled to receiving a nude back since they sent one? Or maybe they think that women will be like, oh wow, I love your dick, let's meet. It makes no sense to me. But according to this knowledgeable person whose name I can't pronounce, the senders fish for compliments or are looking for sexual contact. They find it exciting for an explicit photo to be viewed by someone else. They fantasize about how the recipient will react to it. But a dick pic can also be pure intimidation, just like whistling on the streets, but in a more intense form. Yet there are also men who send such photos out of clumsiness. They have completely misunderstood the context of the conversation. Okay, so to men's defense, sometimes it's a misunderstanding. Anyway, as I mentioned before, receiving dick pics is not sexy for most women. And sending unsolicited nudes is called cyberflashing. Do you want a definition?
No, not really.
I'll give you one either way. Cyberflashing involves sending obscene pictures to strangers online, often done through Airdropped. The term can also be applied to the same action carried out through Bluetooth and other online services, such as dating apps, text messages, emails, etc. And since cyberflashing is a form of indecent exposure, is it illegal? Well, it depends on where it happens. For example, Scotland criminalized sending unsolicited explicit photos way back in 2009, and in March 2022, the UK made cyberflashing a criminal offense. What about in the US? It seems that it depends on which state it happened and to whom and why the explicit pictures were sent. So it's a gray area over there. But most agree that cyberflashing is a form of sexual harassment. So if you or your friends do this kind of shit, contemplate, okay, that you or they might end up in legal trouble. This form of indecent exposure can be a horrifying experience for the recipient. It can make them feel unsafe and cause similar feelings of violation and sexual intrusion. I have read a very uncomfortable story during my research for this video, and the article is kind of long, so I don't want to, read the whole thing right now, but I am going to link it in the description, and I think it's worth a read if you are someone who can't seem to understand why receiving unsolicited pics, it's uncomfortable and traumatizing for the recipient. And the experience that this woman described in the article, unfortunately, is way more common than I thought.
I don't get flashed at every day in the street, but I get flashed at hundreds of times a day online.
I receive probably 3 unsolicited images a day.
It's only by showing the scale of the problem and the nature of the problem that is going to push anybody to actually do anything about it. And we can do something about it.
It's so strange to me that some men don't seem to understand that sending unsolicited nudes is wrong. One thing is clear, okay, from all the articles I've read about sending unsolicited pics, nobody appreciates them. In none of the situations they were welcomed. Yet the majority of the women don't address the man about his behavior. According to a study, 36% indicated that they do not respond to the dick pics, and only 9% of the women expressed their displeasure with men. So I think it's important to talk about how the narrative surrounding online harassment needs to change. If you get that new Facebook friend cyberflashing to you, most people will tell you, just ignore it, you don't have to respond. But as reporter Charlotte Jacob said, that's putting the onus on the recipient of the harassing message and not the perpetrator. So talk to your friends, okay? Share this video, share the articles that I'm gonna link in the description, okay? And some resources on how to deal with cyberflashing. Let's help spread the message that cyberflashing is not okay and that it should be reported as any other form of harassment. Get those screenshots going, ladies, okay? If you know that there are explicit pictures of yourself going around online, there is a project called Take It Down that will be able to help people proactively search for their images and take them down.
This is a project that's billed as letting young people take back control of their intimate images by letting them proactively choose to have intimate images and videos of themselves blocked from online platforms.
The moral of the story, kids, as with any sexual activities and exchanges, it's really important to get clear and enthusiastic consent before proceeding. If people didn't ask for it, if you're not in an intimate relationship with the receiving person, just please keep your nudes to yourself. And if everybody's consenting, then just have some fun. Or maybe be classy and don't stop judging them. These lashes are so heavy, I can barely see.